Hello everyone, my name is Nur Arishahani binti Sheikh Mahmud. Today I'll be presenting on psychological biases in decision making in management. Let's start by defining psychological biases. Psychological biases, also called cognitive biases, are systematic errors in thinking caused by mental shortcuts known as heuristics. These biases can simplify decisions, especially under pressure, but they often lead to flawed or irrational judgments. In today's fast-paced business environment, psychological biases are becoming increasingly significant. Why? Because decisions need to be made quickly, often with incomplete information, and under pressure to deliver results. While they can sometimes help simplify choices, they often lead to suboptimal or illogical outcomes. In management, decision making is a critical function that directly impacts the performance of the business. From strategic planning to recruitment, biases influence nearly every area of managerial decision making. There are several common biases that managers encounter. First, let's talk about overconfidence bias. This happens when managers overestimate their skills, abilities, or chance of success. For example, imagine a CEO of a tech company launching a new product. They might ignore competitor studies or market challenges and assume their product will dominate the market because of their previous successes. Unfortunately, this misplaced optimism often results in overspending or poorly planned projects, leading to significant losses when the final product fails to meet expectations. The second bias is confirmation bias, which occurs when managers favor information that confirms their pre-existing belief while ignoring contradictory evidence. For example, a hiring manager might prefer candidates from a specific university, believing that graduates from that institution are more qualified. By focusing on the assumption, they might overlook talented candidates with diverse educational backgrounds. Next is anchoring bias, where managers rely too heavily on the first piece of information they receive when making a decision. For instance, during supplier negotiation, a manager might get fixated on the initial price quoted and use as a benchmark. Even if better deals are available, this could result in accepting terms that hurt the organization profitability. Recency bias is another common issue, especially in employee evaluation. For example, during annual reviews, a manager might focus solely on an employee's most recent accomplishment and ignore significant contribution made earlier in the year. This can lead to unfair evaluation, negatively affecting employee morale and engagement. Over time, such practices can erode trust within the team. Another impactful bias is the framing effect, where decisions are influenced by how information is presented. For example, to gain team support for a change, a manager might frame the decision as a way to avoid losses rather than maximize gains. While the approach might secure immediate approval, it could distort team perceptions and lead them to view the change of risk-averse rather than innovative. The final bias we discuss is optimism bias. For instance, a manager might set overly ambitious project deadlines, assuming everything will go smoothly. When unexpected challenges arise, the team may struggle to meet deadline, leading to delays and burnout. It's important to note that biases are not always negative. In certain situations, they can be beneficial. One major advantage of biases is their ability to enhance decision-making efficiency. For example, during a crisis, a manager might rely on recent data to make a quick judgment, avoiding delays that could escalate the problem. Similarly, intuition, often shaped by biases and past experiences, can guide managers through ambiguous or unclear situations where thorough analysis isn't feasible. Another advantage is the confidence that some biases can instill. Overconfidence bias, though frequently criticized, can provide managers with a sense of assurance that help them take decisive actions and inspire trust in their teams. Biases also help simplify complicated circumstances by narrowing the focus to key aspects of the problem. For instance, occurring bias allow managers to start their analysis with specific data points, making complex situations more manageable. Lastly, biases like loss aversion encourage a cautious approach that prioritizes minimizing potential losses over taking high risks. For example, a financial manager might avoid a high-risk investment despite the possibility of large profits, focusing instead of protecting the company's stability. The risk-averse mindset can be particularly helpful in volatile or certain environments where mistakes could have severe consequences. However, the disadvantages often outweigh the benefits. The first disadvantage is the impact of biases on decision quality. Many biases result in poor decision-making by distorting perceptions and limiting objectivity. For instance, confirmation bias leads managers to focus on information that support their existing belief while ignoring contradictory evidence. This can result in continuing ineffective strategy or missing critical insight that could have changed the direction of a project. Biases can also distort resource allocation, leading to inefficiencies. For example, recency bias might cause managers to prioritize resources for addressing recent or memorable issues while ignoring long-term trends or systematic problems. This short-sighted approach often results in wasted resources. Another significant drawback of psychological biases is their impact on organizational culture and team dynamics. Groupthink is a common example. It occurs when the desire for harmony or unity within a team suppresses dissenting opinions. This stifles creativity, narrows perspectives, and leads to less than optimal decisions. Finally, status quo bias creates resistance to necessary changes or innovations. This bias makes managers prefer sticking with existing methods, even when newer approaches or technologies could greatly enhance performance. For example, a manager might hesitate to adopt a new software system that improves efficiency simply because they are accustomed to the current one. To minimize the negative effects of biases, here are some practical recommendations. The first strategy is fostering diversity in teams. Organization can ensure a broader range of perspectives by assembling teams with varied backgrounds, experiences, and abilities. Diverse teams are better equipped to challenge individual biases and produce more balanced and innovative solutions. For example, imagine a team working on a strategic project. Including members from different departments or cultural backgrounds can lead to creative problem solving that mitigates the influence of any one person biases. Another effective way to overcome biases is by adopting structured frameworks for decision making. Tools like pre-mortem assessment are particularly useful. In a pre-mortem, the team imagines a project has failed and works backward to identify potential risks or problems. For instance, a marketing team launching a new product could use this technique to anticipate challenges and develop strategies to mitigate them before implementation. Transparency and accountability are critical in addressing biases. Establishing an accountable culture makes it easier to recognize and correct biases. For example, post-decision review can be used to analyze outcomes and understand how biases may have influenced the decision-making process. This encourages managers to think more thoroughly about their decision and consider multiple angles. Another strategy is to link decision quality to measurable performance indicators. Reviewing financial or operational decisions on a quarter basis can help teams identify bias thought patterns and refine their approaches for the future. By tying decision making to concrete outcomes, managers are more likely to reflect on their choices critically and reduce the influence of subconscious biases. Mindfulness and emotional intelligence play a key role in mitigating biases. Mindfulness techniques such as deep breathing or meditation can help managers stay calm and focused during high-pressure situations. For example, practicing mindfulness before a crucial meeting can reduce the impact of intense emotions, leading to clearer and more logical decision making. Organizations can also adopt policies to minimize biases in critical processes. Blind decision-making techniques are an excellent example. For instance, anonymizing resumes during the hiring process helps reduce age, gender, and racial biases. Diverse interview panels or rotating leadership roles in decision-making committees can further decrease the influence of individual biases. Using software to anonymize candidate details in the early stage of recruitment ensure that decisions are based solely on qualification and experience. The final strategy is fostering open communication and creating feedback loops. Encouraging team members to point out potential biases in decision helps reduce the risk of one individual's perspective dominating the outcome. For example, during a team meeting, actively soliciting input from everyone ensure that multiple perspectives are considered. This approach not only minimizes biases but also improves collaboration and trust among team members. In conclusion, psychological biases are a natural part of human thinking, but they can significantly influence managerial decision making. Addressing biases isn't just about avoiding mistakes, it's about transforming challenges into opportunities for better decision making and long term success. Thank you for your attention.